Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna check the new decisive pack for Mirabell, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, this pack. If you wanna buy the skin, that's pretty nice. I'll admit that's alluring. The weapon is usable. The supporter is also usable. But I am a little bit disappointed on the performance of both the weapon and the supporter. And let's check exactly why. So, photon rifle says, marks enemy hit by fire support for 12 seconds, reducing the critical resistance by 15% up to 30% and deals additional damage equal to 120% of attack every 3 seconds. That's gonna be, let's see, four instances of damage, and that's nice and all, but it is not that impactful in the long run. And the most impactful thing is gonna be the critical resistance reduction, though that doesn't increase your damage. What does increase your damage is the next passive. Has a 15% chance on the basic attacks to inflict 3% up to 6% increased damage taken on the enemies for 5 seconds stacked up to 8 times. So, yeah. This seems pretty good, considering how fast Mirabel is when doing her basics. But there's one issue. And the issue can be located over here in the percentage, or depending on your perspective, it could be over here on the duration. Let me elaborate on this. The debuff is extremely useful, but Mirabel is gonna lose time while she activates her skills. That's why the basic enhancer and a spread short are gonna be very, very useful when doing a build with this weapon. So, if we had a little bit more chance, a higher chance to inflict the debuff, let's say at 25, this would be a little bit more viable. It would be actually pretty good. But with 15 and 5 seconds durations, sometimes you're just gonna miss it. Even though you're hitting constantly, you're gonna miss your stacks. You're gonna lose your stacks, so that's an issue. If they had made these 10 seconds instead of 5, the 15 would have been acceptable because you have a long duration on the debuff and you're bound to get more stacks eventually. And you don't care too much about wasting time in activating your skills. So, yeah. While the weapon seems good in paper, it heavily, and I mean heavily, relies on RNG, which is not that great. Then we have the supporter. So, for the supporter, summons XPS 11A bone for 15 seconds up to 30 seconds after using ultimate, increase damage by a machine type character by 15% up to 30%. The bone is nice, I guess. It is a minion that can just relieve some pressure on the character that you're playing. And depending on the ultimate, it might be useful. For example, Su doesn't care about this summon, but every other character can take advantage of this. Now, the important part would be the damage increase on machine type characters, but we only have about 5 or 6 characters that are machines, so that's not gonna be super impactful. And a 30% is a pretty small number, all in all, so yeah, not the most impactful effect. Though, this gets a little bit of compensation if you put this on the main, because it says increases damage by 2% up to 4% per particle orb owned. That's usable. I won't say like it's really, really good. It's usable. It allows machine type characters with full particles to have up to 70% of damage increase. And this is going to be very good on Mirabel because of how she plays. But everyone else is not going to take that much benefit out of this supporter. Even the machine characters are not going to enjoy using this. Lastly, we have the active. On 59-second cooldown, sets coordinates ahead to call for an orbital laser, strikes deal continuous damage equal to 170% of attack up to 340% of attack. It honestly, both this and the damaging passive of the weapon look impactful, but they aren't as impactful. Talking about the damage they deal, they look menacing, but that's about it. Like sometimes I see the laser interrupting the action of the enemies, which is nice, but it is just a whatever attack. Honestly, don't think too much of it. So now I'm gonna show you how to use this set. Sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. So we're gonna start with the weapon and the supporter combined. The weapon 5 out of 5 and plus 15 with critical damage Magatamas for fire and wind, whatever attack Magatamas. The ambitious weapon on the sub slot 5 out of 5 and plus 15, which is the best weapon she has. But if you have a Momochi, not a Momochi weapon, a PvP weapon, remember those usually have the highest stat. This one has a really high crit, but I mean, we already have multipliers to guarantee that you crit, so it doesn't matter as much as attack. Consider that. And then we have fire support to deal damage and take advantage of the effect of the weapon. It is honestly a pretty good damaging skill. Blitzkrieg to recover HP, and command assemble because we want the ability to summon a bone, because that's going to relieve some pressure from this character. Honestly, right at the very end of the stage, she's gonna struggle because of how tanky the enemies are and how much damage they deal. So we need a summon. Then, so let me think. Technically, no, yeah, I'll do it. Let me just check the build. No, I won't. You can use. Let me tell you. Particle charge supporters like Momoko, who else? Hikage, Fire God Maika, Tomoe. Those are gonna help you a lot. Unfortunately, for these builds, you do not want to go mix, so you do not want to use Ingrid, even though it's one of the best for particle charge. You want to go full green so that you have the damage multiplier on your main skill. So we have just generic damage increase with Kowarum. We have Tomoe to increase particle charge and give us damage with the particle charge. We have Mirabel just to have an insane amount of damage with this character in particular. And for the skills, we are not using Full Metal Jacket nor Spreadshot. I just mentioned that these are pretty good options. Unfortunately, if you're going solo, you want damage, you want healing, and you want a way to get the enemy away from you. So these are the skills that you need. Stats of the customs, stat training, and oh yeah, these ones. We're using ranged critical damage, increased damage of machines, and increased damage against debuffed enemies. So full damage increase, honestly. Pretty simple. Am I going to beat this stage? I don't know. I wasn't able to beat it the first time and I didn't try again. But this deals a pretty good amount of damage. As you can see. And we have a ton of HP recovery. So yeah, it's pretty good. And those are the effects, the damaging effect of the weapon. Let's see, I just do this. I summon the bone and done. Wow. I mean, it is not surprising considering how much damage I get from the supporter. But as I mentioned, Mirabel is kind of the only character who really could take advantage of the supporter, and that's because of her ambitious weapon and how her ultimate works. Because the ultimate is gonna give her a super mode, and she can charge particles after that. And she can take advantage of the particle charge to deal more damage on the ultimate. Everyone else is not gonna have that damage because they consume the particles. Okay, now I just... Oh god, no! Come on. I just need... One enemy! God! One enemy! Whoever but the bosses. Why the bosses? Okay, how about this? Like, I needed the mobs. But okay. Okay. That was silly. Oh, a mob. That works. I'm just gonna charge particles. And now that the enemies are distracted, I'm gonna deal a little bit of damage. Ingrid is still alive. Uh-oh. Well, another bone over there. And damage. Good enough. My god, this girl is tanky. And oh my god, no. I'm just gonna do this. No, don't. Okay. Done. Yeah, I managed. Barely, but I managed. So, yeah. That's one build. Now, to be honest, the best way to use this supporter is not with the package weapon, with the decisive package weapon, but rather the ambitious weapon. Because this weapon naturally gives particle charge increase. 120, that's a big number for particle charge increase. And it also restores 30% of the particle when you activate your ultimate. When the ultimate effect... No, when the ulti ends. So, that's good. It increases damage while wearing the exoskeleton armor. It it increases damage by 4% per stack, and you can get up to 10 stacks, but you lose stacks if you don't move. And well, same build, but we just swap the weapons. And now, the difference are gonna be the skills and one supporter. For the skills, we want Full Metal Jacket. Why? Because we want to increase particle charge even more. And then we want to have Fire God Micah, just to extremely abuse the particle charge increase. What you can do, if you don't have this one, but you do have Ingrid, is that you can just drop the damaging skill. Because you can abuse the ulti. This would be basically ulti spam. So just keep Blitzkrieg with a green on the main. Put switch fire support for whatever skill that you want. Honestly, as long as you don't overexpose yourself, you're fine. Like, again, assemble is a pretty good option defensively. And that should be it, honestly. So let's check how this goes. Honestly, this I did beat because it is just very busted. Look at this. We charge particles. We use the ulti. We charge more particles. Oh my god. Oh. And then we finish the ulti. Nice. I need to hit the other one there. Okay, that was immune. I just need to wait for one of those mobs to heal, and then I ulti. The idea is that you just spam your ulti like crazy, and I mean really, really, so. Um, Even if you don't have like the 10 particles to increase your damage, it is fine. Remember that you want to charge constantly the stacks, the particles, so that you get stacks of mica. I have right now 2 stacks. It's not the best, but it works. Then I use the ulti again, and let's see. And the bones are gonna help me out with the enemies. And look at that. I use the ulti again. Pretty simple, as I mentioned. Okay, good enough. Ulti, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, this combo is busted. Really, really busted. So, do you want to buy the package? Honestly, you would prefer. If you want the skin, it's fine. I won't deny that. The skin is cool. But getting this is actually better. Because the weapon is really, really busted. By comparison. But now, let's try to do a supportive build. Or, well, a utility build. How we do that? Well, with blue, of course. Blue is the option. Wait a moment. I didn't save it. Let's see. I just put the weapon back. And we have to go blue. We need to use a spread shot because it decreases the defense of the enemy. We also use riot tackle, and we use full metal jacket, just like that. Then we're gonna put current eye and of course the founding three together. This is gonna make us extremely tanky. It's gonna give us HP recovery, a ton of damage too, and lastly you can equip whatever you want. Honestly, um, you might do something different on Total War. You can put Mirabel on the main as well as Haru, which is gonna be extremely good. But well, we'll see that in a moment. Let's see. For the last one, I'm just gonna put a generic Aneros because it's the generic way to increase damage against all enemies. And this particular stage, that has multiple traits. That's why we go with the limited option, unfortunately. Now, let's see. We're going to just. Honestly, this is not as exciting because it takes a lot of time. We do not need the blue skill, but it's gonna take a while. Regardless if we had the blue skill, it would still take a while. So we have to abuse the ultimate as much as possible. Whenever I have the ulti, I'm gonna use the ulti. Because, as I mentioned, we don't have that much damage. And yeah, it is just that. Should you do a build like this one, just to abuse the damage increase debuff that the weapon provides? Honestly, I don't recommend it because you don't take that much advantage of the damage increase because you become a tank and you don't have HP recovery unless you go on green. So basically, you always want to use this weapon on green. You can use it in other colors, but it's not as advantageous. It's just that. Red is almost unusable, as usual, because I mean as usual because she doesn't have HP recovery on red, and blue it's always rely on the massacre Kurnai. She can do the heavy lifting. Okay, And I just need a little bit more damage. And to use the ultimate, should I? Should I use it right away? Or should I save it? I think I should save it. Considering that it's about to change the wave. Okay, we increase the damage, we increase the damage, we increase the damage. Done. And now, let's see. I use the ulti. And I use my skills from the suit. And I also try to use... gain as much stacks to deal the most damage with the ultimate damage. That's it. Perfect. Now, the last wave. The difficult one. Can I do this? Technically, yes. But again, it takes some time so that I... Oh, no! They stunned me. Okay, it takes some time so that I charge my particles and I use the ulti so that it carries me. And that and the healing from Kunai. That's what's carrying this build, honestly. Should you try to increase particle charge with this? Not really, honestly. Like, I don't remember any options in blue to increase particle charge. Perhaps there are, but not the reliable ones. Let's see. I just... one more particle, come on, come on. There. Ultimate. And T-Bone is gonna distract the enemies a little bit. Perfect, nice, nice, nice. And this is going to hurt. Nice. So, only 2 more enemies. Sayaneo and Ingrid. And with proper positioning, I can afflict both of them with the stacks of the defense down. Oh my god! Well, it happened. I'm not gonna do a second run. But it is doable. I have already done this one. But it is pretty slow. That's the disadvantage about it. So let's see how effective this can be on total... No, not Total War just yet. On VR. So since we're fighting Queen Arachne, we want to use a range attacker. A range attacker with tracking capabilities. Sora has tracking capabilities with Celestial Fox. You can also use Phantasma. You can also use Astaroth. There's plenty of options. But since there are annoying mobs throughout the stage, we want to use this. So, first we're gonna... sorry. Oh my god. We're gonna focus on Mirabel, supporter Mirabel. Of course, she's gonna be using Photon Rifle. That's kind of the appeal, but you can check the video afterwards and you can check how many stacks I was able to inflict onto the enemy, and you let me know in the comments. So obviously anti-demon, wind Magatamas, whatever Magatamas on the subslot, you know the weapons, spread shot, riot tackle, full metal jacket, defense down, and just not using another animation so that we don't lose the stacks. Basically, that's it. Even removing this would be a viable option, just so that you know. Then, of course, the Mirabel supporter, Lapis supporter, and Haru. Honestly, the Lapis supporter is probably one of the best options that we have for Mirabel right now. There's no supporters like Asusa that increase, I don't know, maybe the speed of this character and benefit the party for a machine type character. So yeah, like we don't have that many options. Now, let's go with Phantasma. Phantasma is going to be using her Fallen Heart 5 out of 5 plus 13 and the Golden Sphere 5 out of 5 plus 15. Anti-Demon, Ice Magatamas, whatever Magatamas on the subslot, Crunching Fear, Succubus Whisper / Horror. We have Yamato for healing, Galilim for the tankiness, and also for the tankiness. Um, there are other two options to consider depending on the enemy. There's Sharia for humans. There's Major for machines. Yeah, for machines. But we don't have a red a red damage reduction against demons. So yeah, we're gonna use this. Stats of the customs, stat training, and well, let's see what else. What else? We have Sora. Sora is gonna use the renewal weapon because it's the best weapon for her. But you could also go with the Momochi weapon. Um, we have anti-demon fire Magatamas, whatever Magatamas on the subplot, whatever weapon on the subplot, 5 out of 5 plus 15, both. Taimanin are Fox Flame, Celestial Fox, and Chosen. Why? Because we go Rainbow. And what do we use? Basically, F2P supporters like Misaki, Onigumo, and Susune. Depending on the enemy, you can just change Onigumo for Arabella, and that's good enough. Stats of the customs, stat training, and lastly, we don't have like much synergies. These are human machine demon, red, blue, blue. So what am I using? Increased damage against debuffed enemies because we're gonna debuff the enemies. Generic damage increase and damage reduction, as well as more generic increase and damage reduction. With these two, the name of Fuma and the library girls. It's just a generic option due to the lack of synergy. So let's see how that works. And basically we just let's see that HP, and let's see how many stacks. 4 stacks, 5 stacks, and okay, yeah, it was able to inflict five stacks. Not bad, not bad. Okay, on the next one. I just do this one, and I recover HP, and I'm gonna use the particles to ulti the next wave, so that we can just focus on the last one. And let's see, let's pay attention to the defense reduction once again. No, I wasn't able to see it. Expected. Well, and I was able to finally clear this on under a minute. Let's see. Yeah, the spiders are very annoying. Now, they increase the time. Which... Oh yeah. We're gonna use this build. So, issues. Who is the main damage dealer? Of course it's gonna be Saika. She's the best damage dealer right now. What? Why is she using this? That makes no sense. She was supposed to be using this one. I don't know. Maybe I saved this. I override it? Well, doesn't matter. So she's gonna use the renewal weapon and whatever weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 15. Attack anti-demon Magatamas because it's Edwin. Whatever Magatamas on the subslot. Calamity Over, Shadowless Kick, and Spin Kick. No. Gale Kick. While Gale Kick and not Take Over. Because technically, at this level, I'm gonna deal so much damage that I'm constantly going to break the super armor. So the enemy is gonna be stun lock most of the time, and I don't need to evade an attack to disarm the enemy. That's why we are omitting this. But takeover is not a bad option, just so that you know. Then, of course, we have Hisui, we have Kowaru, we have Akane over here. Stats of the customs, stat training. And the question is, who do we cut? Who do we cut? What does Phantasma offer? For Phantasma is gonna be a Momochi weapon user. Give me one moment. We are not using the um the buffing supporter because we want to go pure. We want the buffing supporters are gonna be, well, the two supporters that take advantage of buffs are gonna be Melt and Kana, and we're not using that because we go with a pure build. Because of that, we don't take that much of advantage of Asuna. Asuna is pretty good because of this weapon that gives you, let's see, 44% damage increase. But we don't want to drop the Momochi weapon. That's the issue here. So I'm gonna cut this one. What else is Asuna offering? Reduce speed, reduce speed, reduce speed. Yeah, basically Asuna is just not going to be useful here. I mean, the important thing about Asuna on these Total War builds is the fact that she gives a buff, a very strong buff, which pair with Kana or Melt is going to give you a huge damage increase. But we are not using those, so we can just substitute this. And let's see. Wind. We do not want wind. Instead, I'll check the Magatamas later for Phantasma. We want wind over here. Why do we want wind on the demon type card on Mirabel? Because the faster she hit, the more stacks she can deal. That's why we really want this element on Mirabel. And then we want to go blue, so we use Mirabel and we use where is she? Haru. Okay. Now, depending on context, you may drop Riot Tackle, or you may not. What's the advantage of using Riot Tackle? It is not only the fact that it's going to apply a defense down on the enemy, but also the fact that you're gonna get near the enemy. One of the issues with Mirabel is that she strays away because the stage is very, very big, and that's why we want to use Riot Tackle. The disadvantage, the long animation doesn't help with the weapons effect. So, yeah, I'm gonna do 2 runs, and we can judge the performance after that. A spread shot, Riot Tackle, Full Metal Jacket, everything in order. And now, Phantasma. What color is Phantasma gonna use? Red. Let's see. Do we have a better option, technically? Increase the speed. Range. No, basically, like, we could go with a generic damage increase. That would be okay, but there's like no effect that increases the performance of the whole team other than these two. So, yeah. For the weapon, we use the Momochi weapon. Again, the skills. What skills? Succubus Whisper, Slash Horror, Crunching Fear. So I'm gonna be next to the enemy. Melee, and range. With 2 melee, I guess I can commit to use this. The water Magatamas. So that I have a speed increase. The Momochi weapon stacking with Mirabel's weapon is gonna be devastating. Succubus Whisper is going to enhance the damage on top of that. And Slash Horror is gonna keep us in proximity, which is gonna help with the leader skill. So, yeah. Stats of the customs, stat training, and I'm just gonna save this. I didn't. That's why. No, wait. Ah, yeah. I'm gonna save it over here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As for the... Let's see. Enhancing. Yeah, these are generic boosts for Psycha. Remember that you want to dedicate all of these to your main attacker. So, let's see just how good this is. Is this going to be the new busted build? Uh, could be. But the problem with this one is that you're gonna need to fish the right RNG so that you always deal the what's the name of the skill? Gale Kick, Calamity Over, Shadowless Kick. You activate Shadowless Kick when you have the 100 combos and you activate Hisui, and the enemy has the stacks, all the stacks of the weapons. No, yeah, it is pretty bad that, as far as I'm seeing right now, it's losing the stats too much. Like 5 seconds, five more seconds, and this would have been pretty good. The weapon, I mean, like the percentage we can omit if we extend the duration, but having both only 15% chance paired with 5 seconds, it is just awful because you don't have enough to just constantly activate the 8 stacks while keeping them after using your skills. It is just a little bit awkward. Let's see. I don't think this is gonna outperform the damage that I did with a wrong build. Let me note that. So yeah, let's see, let's see, or maybe it will. I don't know. Okay, maybe it will. Okay, it's doing fine, honestly. All in all, I am surprised. And we still have like 5 seconds. Okay. Interesting, interesting. So, one thing to take into consideration for this particular meta, it is not bad because we do not lose that much from not using Asuna. From not using Asuna, because that's super good when you can do a mixed build with blue or red. But if not, you can just use this one. Let's try it again. But this time, I'm gonna do something. And it's that I'm just gonna unequip this. We have a spread shot and full metal jacket, and that's it. Yeah, I honestly don't like reducing the amount of debuffs, but if that helps out with consistency, to always activate the shadowless kick on the right time and for the enemy to have all the stacks, it will be okay. Okay, it seems that nowadays, no, don't do that. Like, stay. She goes too far. That's the issue with Mirabell. Like, well, honestly, the biggest issue is the size of the stage. They shouldn't have done this stage so big that even ranged attackers like aren't able to hit the enemy. Because the range for most range attackers is fine. But look. Look! I am not kidding. Oh god. Well. And I lose the stacks and well. Let's see. Well, we have to see. I always get surprised by the performance at the very end. Like, it can just skyrocket at times. I would say that this is a dead run, but we might as well see everything. So yeah, the first one wasn't able to um, deal with beat the record. I mean, beat the record, but and I don't think this one is gonna be able to. But let's see. Yeah, not doing it definitely. Okay, I'm just gonna put the skill one more time and let's see if fishing for this is good enough. I don't think like no no we're gonna do one more thing. I'm just gonna put Azusa, which we know that I didn't do it properly. I just told you that the build wasn't right. So this is the right build, but we put Azusa just for the sake of comparison, and we load the build. She's using melee, right? She's using melee. Let's see. Um. Oh yeah. I have to put anti-demon like this. Even though I don't have as many skills, it is fine. Let's see. Something like this. Yeah. It didn't beat the previous record. So let's just compare it. So is this good for Total War? In theory. What's the issue? The size of the stage, the length of the shots is not enough. It is just the stage is too big, and you stop attacking the enemy. Even if you do a dedicated build, uh, not only that, you also want to be near the enemy so that the spread shot is able to hit the enemy and reduce the defense. And for that, you need ways to be near the enemy, and the tackle is pretty good for that. But the amount of time it takes to perform that skill uh, just resets the stacks of the defense, the damage increase that we inflict onto the enemy. So yeah, that's not good. Let's see. Is this going to deal even more damage? Well, I can tell you that this is probably going to beat my record. I mean, now it's done properly, of course. So, let's see. Let's wait and see. 500,000, not bad, not bad. Ah, God. Even though I wanted this pack to be like super meta relevant, they had a good core, honestly, but they missed the mark. And as I mentioned, they could increase the percentage, but honestly, I prefer to increase the duration just to fix this. And unfortunately, they are not gonna fix it. But 10 seconds would be just marvelous because that way you wouldn't lose the stack so often. You would still lose them due to the skills duration and depending on the chance, activation chance on the basics. But well, well. So, is this set worth it? I think this answers the question, guys, doesn't it? Yeah, same build, basically. The only difference is that here I'm using Mirabel as a supporter, and here I'm using Azusa. And they have their dedicated weapons and strategies, but everything else is the same. The Phantasmas are the same, the Psychas are the same, the um, the formation effects are the same, but this is the only difference, and it is 8 million higher. So yeah, that speaks volumes. So should you buy this pack and should you roll for the limited set, uh, honestly, I recommend you go for Phantasma's supporter. Core Phantasma is gonna be more useful. This one is super useful when there's enemies with invincibility or that abuse buffs, and this is just great for that because it removes the debuffs. On the other hand, as I mentioned, we have just five, not even six, five machine type characters, five characters that can benefit from the main passive of the Mirabel supporter. The weapon misses the mark just a little. The benefit on solo content by enhancing fire support is not that impactful. It is okay. There is one thing that is impactful. Fire support increases critical damage. If you see the skill, it says increase critical damage by 250%. And you have better chances at critting with this weapon. That's gonna be fine at the start of the game. But when you get more critical rate and you don't actually need to increase the critical rate by debuffing the enemy, it's like, what do you gain? A little bit more damage by just proccing the laser 4 times? Not that great. And this one, as I mentioned, pretty nice when you're piloting Mirabel, but this kind of content, Total War, doesn't allow us to pilot the character, thus making this not as viable. Anyways, well, let me know in the comments what do you think. Honestly, I do not recommend that you roll for this supporter and weapon this time. I was expecting a very different result. Because on paper this is good. The supporter, as I mentioned, usable, especially on particle charge build, and particularly good for Mirabel. But this supporter wants to be paired with the ambitious weapon, not this one. And this weapon, 5 seconds. 5 seconds. That's the only thing it needed. But no, they just put 5 at the basis instead of 10 seconds. Well. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you're gonna roll for it. Let me know if you already rolled, if you're satisfied or not. And that's it for today. And I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.